I'm sorry for anything I mispronounce in this video. Ne Zha 2 follows Ao Bing and Ne Zha as they try to take down and shut down the corporate overtaking of the Chinese mythological world. It's based off of old Chinese mythology that I actually haven't experienced before. I've read lots of world literature, including like Confucius and stuff, but I've never read any of this stuff. But I know what you are thinking. I'm a red-blooded American, what do I care about Chinese movies? Can I leave that in the video? Is that offensive? Well, there's mainly two reasons you should care. One, Ne Zha 2 is now one of the highest grossing movies of all time and the highest grossing animated movie of all time. That's right, Ne Zha 2 has made more money than all of these movies. Which is crazy to think about, but the Chinese box office has been struggling for a really long time, and this is a return to form for them. In many ways, Ne Zha 2 is a lot like Top Gun Maverick, but for Chinese audiences. The second reason why you should care is because it's a really damn good movie. And I don't just think that's because I go out and see international movies quite a bit. I actually think this movie has quite the universal and international acclaim. I think modern movie-going audiences, even American audiences, can get on board with this if you're willing to read the subtitles. The larger-than-life mythological story has the epic feel of something like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with big character moments and awesome battles. And you don't even need to see the first one. I was really worried going into this because I didn't have a chance to see the first one beforehand, just because I couldn't find it on streaming or anything. And I really didn't need it. I was a little bit confused that both of the main characters were dead at the start of this movie. Otherwise, I caught on pretty quick. The real standout, though, is the 3D animation. As American trends have slowly gone away from 3D animation, this fully commits to doing 3D animation. And it's probably the best 3D animation I've ever seen, and I'm not joking. Every moment from this movie has a magical feel and shine to it that's both visually impressive, but also really technically impressive. Some of these wide shots can really capture the epic feeling of the story. And I would argue that these rival our famous iconic wide shots like in Captain America Civil War. Seriously, tell me this is cooler than this. Not only that though, it's technically impressive. Water, lava, and fires all used throughout the runtime, and they look gorgeous. I can't even imagine how complicated some of these physics sims are, but I'm so glad they took the time to render them and pull these off. I was also really surprised how accessible the humor was. This movie's really funny. I loved the main character who walks around with his hands in his pants like this, and it's like probably the funniest and the coolest thing I think I've ever seen. The movie relies more on physical comedy more than like witty, well-written humor, which gives it that universal appeal. I was laughing at multiple points throughout the runtime, and I was not expecting that. I will say though, there is a lot of potty humor in the movie, which isn't personally my thing, and I thought it was kind of gross and annoying at times. But we also love Shrek here, so I don't know, I think most people will be okay with it.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Pretty much all of the voice performances are great, as most of them bring a gravitas to the story and an epic feeling to the characters. But that's my favorite part about Ne Zha 2. For every big, awesome action set piece, there's a beautiful and really well done character moment. One moment towards the end of the movie in particular between Ne Zha and his mom is one of the most beautiful things I've seen in a cinema this year, and I thought was a really interesting metaphor and example of emotional realism, which I talk about in this video here. It legitimately got me tearing up, and I was not expecting that. This movie is not as foreign as it might seem to most movie-going audiences here in America. Ne Zha 2 is actually just about humanity and the human experience, which I think transcends beyond borders. Ne Zha 2 is about love, about parenthood, about maturing and growing up, and the bonds that we set with each other, and how important and sacred those things are. Despite all these beautiful things though, the movie does have problems with its script. It drags really hard in the second act for about 30 or 40 minutes. The common complaint of training arcs is here and present, and the movie grinds to a halt. But I will say it has a Saturday morning cartoon kind of feel, a sort of villain of the week like in Cowboy Bebop. So it's not all bad, but it does grind the story to a halt. Even then though, I was so glad I saw this in theaters. And I really implore you guys to as well. I saw it in 3D and it was awesome in 3D, one of the best 3D transfers I've ever seen. So if you have the time and you can find a theater that's playing it near you, go see Ne Zha 2. Because on my scale, it's great. Thanks for watching.
Rain, are you sure about this?
Only one way to find out.